Hi. Happy Thursday. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have a chit chat about mental wellness, mental health, mental illnesses, um, and whatever else comes out my mouth. So, I know that's the main topic. If we get off topic, whatever, we're supposed to get off topic. So, if you haven't noticed, I've been focusing a lot on the crown chakra, your mental wellness, because based upon everything that's been going on, it's a lot going on. Like, it's a lot of stuff going on spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and it's all happening at once. And there's really like no way to actually like prepare for it, but this shit about to keep on rolling out. I'm just gonna tell y'all that now. So, since everyone has been experiencing and seeing and feeling a lot, there has been energetically an increase of the anxiety, the depression, the fear, the stress, the phobia, which I have been observing, even talking to people and clients, that it has made, if you do have anxiety and depression, it is skyrocket. So whatever you was doing before to manage it, you may want to kick it up a few hundred notches. Not even being funny, but you really have to take care of your mental wealth at this time. I want you to know that your mental wealth is very important. Very important. It's not something that needs to be put on the back burner. I know many of us have been raised like, when it comes to mental illness or wellness or anything dealing with like managing your emotions, it's like taboo. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, it's very important. Because the thing are, when you aren't mentally balanced, it's going to cause, I don't want to say chaos, but it's going to cause a few things to get knocked off in your life, not being aware. And it's important that you take your mental wellness serious. So, on a spiritual level, we have anxiety, which is related to, on a spiritual level, is basically fear of the unknown. You are basically focused on future outcomes and you're not being in the present. So if you're constantly consuming things and messages, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die next. The world is over. What's happening? And you kind of like freeze and you lock up. And it causes like a disharmony within your body and around you. Like, anything you emotionally feel, your body reacts physically. Well, some people have different levels of anxiety. Some of it comes and goes. Some of it is more intense, depending on what's going on in your life. And then you have depression on a spiritual level, where you're thinking about the past, still not in the present. You're constantly dwelling on something. And dwelling is not a bad thing, but you're just constantly reflecting and having that picture in your head where it's like, this has happened, that has happened. I can't stop thinking about it. It's in the back of my mind. It happened a long time ago. This is here. I can't even look forward because I'm focusing on what has happened. And that's why it's important for, when you do feel these things come up, is that you are, one, aware, and then number two is that you are going to like research and try different things to help manage it. Because the thing is, when I'm noticing, a lot of people do have anxiety and depression. All of us have anxiety or depression. It's normal. It is part of life, especially if you live in this month. It's you gonna go a little haywire sometimes in the head. So, with that being said, you have to start researching and gathering resources to help you balance, because a lot of people, I know, when you do get into the anxiety and depression, it knocks everything off. Like, is not a happy place. You feel like there isn't any harmony. You feel like what's happening to you. And basically, you just have to remember that life comes in cycles. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. It's just important not to get swept up and carried away into it to a point where you're not functioning at your best. Also, what I've noticed is that a lot of people like to scream and shout, like, I have anxiety, I have depression, I can't do this, I can't do that. Where it's like, no, we all have anxiety and depression. So since we all experience the same thing, some of us know how to manage it more than others. And you need to know that you are not that diagnosis, or even if you've been diagnosed or not, you're either, no, it's just something that you are aware of. You are not that label. You are still a person. You still have gifts. You still have talents. You still have interests. You still have hobbies. Like, do not let that consume you or take over you. I know it's like easier said than done, but when it comes to managing your wellness in general, you have to be accountable as well, because it's so easy for us to like point the fingers and say, well, I'm like this because of this, that. So like, what are you going to do about it? And also when people like, when you see people that always like to not address, but they want to introduce themselves as whatever imbalance that they're having, spiritually, that means that person is looking for nurturing. They're looking for love. They're looking for validation. They're looking for some type of engagement. Because sometimes you may notice people that do get sick, they don't get better because they're constantly looking for connection with people. Because we're humans, we need connections, we like relationships, we like people, we like gathering. That's also related to the heart chakra. So yes, anxiety and depression is related to the heart chakra because you want to connect. And sometimes the only way you know how to connect is to say you're sick or something's not feeling right, which is fine. But also you have to look within and also just see like, what can you do more to love and to pour in yourself? Because when these things come up with our mental wellness, that's an alert that something is off. Whether that is emotionally, spiritually, when it comes to being in alignment with what it is that you want to do, or just doing things natural that like what you like to do. It could be as simple as I like to eat ice cream versus I should be working and doing something else. Certain things like that, we're not living in harmony, can cause those triggers. And then also, when we have everything that's going on, it's definitely going to kick up the triggers. And then the thing is, when it comes to mental wellness, I'm just going to flat out and say it, like, collectively, everybody needs fucking therapy. Like, for real. Like, no one is exempt. And the thing is, your mental wealth, like, is very important. Like, it's hard for you to function. It's hard for you to concentrate when this ain't together. It's hard for you to trust yourself, to use your discernment when this is imbalanced. And the truth is, collectively, a lot of stuff has happened to us. And when it comes to going to therapy, like, you don't have to... A lot of people think, like, you have to go to therapy because, like, something really bad has happened to you. Whether you were, like... People think people go to therapy for these main things. If you were raped, abused, molested, getting your ass beat, bullying. And it's like, no, there are many layers to... I don't want to say trauma, but we can say trauma. But also just remember that life happens to you. Think of your life as a book. There are many chapters. And throughout those chapters, there have been things that has happened to you out of the course of your life that may cause like an emotional response. And what happens is most of the times when those responses don't get processed or heard, you store them in your body, whether that's physical ailments, whether that's mental imbalances, whether it's the way you communicate or talk to people. It just shows up in different ways. And with that being said, therapy helps with that because it provides an outlet for you to talk. It provides an outlet for you to get things out. Like talking is very therapeutic, just like singing, rapping, poetry is very therapeutic. And the reason therapy works because a lot of people aren't used to being heard. They were told that their voices don't matter. Your emotions don't matter. You need to get over it. You don't have depression. You don't have this, or I had this and I did this. So it's a very dismissive attitude within our own personal communities when it comes to going through certain things, which is why I'm so happy that now and over the past couple of years, like mental health and therapy and mindfulness is coming to the forefront. Because usually what you see that's very popular in the forefront, it usually reflects what's going on with the people. So a lot of us are basically off mentally. A lot of us have not been taught to process our emotions based upon generations, because the generation now is learning emotional intelligence, where in the past they did not know about emotional intelligence, which is why you have people who cry, who are more sensitive. They are looked down on. They're like they're weak, and it's like no, there's just them processing their feelings. I'm thirsty. So, also when it comes to therapy, there has been many people that claim that therapy does not work. Therapy does not work because you don't want to work. The thing is, when it comes to therapy, a lot of people are looking for like certain. It's almost like, think of people that like do a get rich quick scheme. It's almost like people are looking for therapy to be the quick healing scheme. It's like, no. You are sitting with like years of unprocessed trauma, unprocessed emotions, unprocessed circumstances that have happened to you. So what happened is everything starts to build up. It's like in a jar. It's being shaken up. And sometimes you may notice people may have like, I don't want to call them nervous breakdown, but they may have nervous breakdown. They may have certain outbursts, because that's what happens when you have a lot of things stored. So if you have found yourself looking for a therapist, and that's another thing, like you have to look for therapists, like you have to research, you have to connect, you have to utilize those consultations just to see if y'all are a match. Yes, it is a little bit of a time investment, but if you take the time to research food, your clothes, your hair, makeup, watching YouTube videos, being on social media all day, you definitely have the time to research a therapist that's good for you. And then the thing is about therapy working. Let me just say, I've been in therapy for 7 months. I love that shit. I can say when it first started, I could see why people be like, "Oh, fuck this, I ain't coming back," because it gets really heavy. Like if you're open to the process and you just start talking and bringing stuff out, like that's gonna shake you up a little bit. And therapy is good because you do have somebody that has that unbiased opinion, that is not opinion, but they have that insight. They can recognize certain patterns and behaviors just based upon what you're telling them, and that's what is needed. Because usually it's this thing about being judged, and it's like, no, just go in there, get it out, respect the process. You cannot go into therapy thinking you're about to heal years of trauma within 1 or 2 sessions, because first of all, a session is only like an hour. So why do you think therapy is supposed to work within an hour or two? That's crazy to me. And then the thing is, there's a lot of resources that you can look for therapy. I've been seeing look, just use the algorithm. Just say therapy, talk about therapy out loud. They're gonna show you text therapists in your area. It may pop up therapists on Instagram, therapy for black girls, and also utilizing your insurance as well. Utilizing your insurance to get your therapist. Even if you could, even like if you're in school, well, no, because schools are kind of like closed. But I don't know how it is with some colleges, because most colleges, they have like on-site counseling where you could just go and talk to somebody. That's including your tuition. So if your school has that, you may want to look into it. It's all about the level that you want to take it to. Then I'm seeing a whole bunch of people that be like, I want my therapist to be spiritually in tune, my personal trainer, into astrology, a basketball coach. I'm being funny. But it's like, no. Keep some of that shit separate. Like, the thing is, you want to go to people who have thoroughly studied what it is you're looking to get help with. So, keep your personal trainer over there. Keep your hairstylist over there, and have your therapist over here, because therapy is a very grounding experience, because it just tells you, it lays out like, this is what it is, this is what's coming up, this is that. It puts it in like layman's terms so you can get it. What else, y'all? When it comes to your mental wellness, though, you also have to take some accountability, especially if you're a grown-up, because at this point in the game, you're responsible for you. No one else is responsible for your health. No one is responsible for your wellness. There are certain things that you can do throughout the day that can help you get a little bit more balance, maintain the balance. First thing is moving. Y'all have to move your body. There are plenty of people who suffer from lots of anxiety and depression, and they would just sit in it, because that's our culture, to just sit down. Like, so you're sitting there ruining all this shit, and it's like, get up, like, move your body. You can dance, you can walk, you can run, you can twerk, shake your ass, do whatever. Like, dancing is very healing, and once you experience those emotions, you have to move them out. That doesn't mean that the emotions are going to be gone forever, but you have to move them out. You also have to eat more healthier foods, because yes, certain foods have certain chemical reactions within the body. So if you are not consuming water, fresh fruits and vegetables, y'all too old to not be consuming fresh fruits and vegetables. I'm gonna just say that. But water, fruits, and vegetables. No, you don't have to be a vegan or a vegetarian, but you do need to make sure you are getting those nutrients in your body to calm you down and balance you out a bit. If your diet is full of like processed foods, you may be tweaking a little bit. And then y'all need to get out in nature. It's the summertime right about now. And even when it's not, you need to be out getting fresh air. Like, what do you think trees do? They clear and cleanse the air. Go outside and get some air. Like, being stuck in your house is like a bubble. And I know some of y'all are very fearful at this time, but shit, y'all need to get outside. Go for a walk. And if you don't feel safe in your community, go to a park and go for a walk. If you live by any type of beautiful landforms like oceans, lakes, mountains, nature trails, like, go. Please go. And then also, I'm going to say it again, get a therapist. Get you a therapist. Because what happens is, from what I've noticed and from what my other reader friends have noticed, you cannot use your reading as like that's not therapy. A lot of people are like, oh, this is like therapy. No, the hell it's not. I am not equipped to be your therapist. Granted, readings bring a certain type of like awareness, and you're like, ooh, okay, and it touches on certain things. And then you may notice you get another reading, you're like, okay, the message is the same. Okay, the other message is the same. And we've all have experience like this. I know I have, and it's like, okay, where there may be something deeper that you need to work on. So you may want to go to therapy. Having mental wealth is a superpower. Having control over your thoughts is a superpower. Having that energy and that discernment to be like, that don't sound right. You ain't coming up in here. That is a superpower. Because there's a lot of what's happening with all the worldly changes. A lot of people are recognizing that they are not happy. They are not doing things, like they are not in alignment with. Because when everything used to be flowing, everybody was just going with the flow, sweeping shit under the rug. I'ma just do this and that, and they're not happy. So I will say, if you are unhappy, go ahead and take this time to discover parts of your happiness. This is so interesting, making a video and just talking to the phone. But I'm talking to y'all. But yes. Let me see if there's anything else coming through before I hit stop. Something else did come through. I just forgot. But the mental wealth is the key. That's one of the forms of protection. That's why people always say protect your crown. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, because through your crown, we can move around like puppets. And if you are experiencing some type of anxiety or depression, if you do carry around this heavy energy and people have told you and you feel it, go ahead and get it checked out. It does not make you weak. It's helping you gather tools so you can get yourself more into balance, into harmony, enjoying like the simple things in life. Because sometimes anxiety and depression can just take away the joy of looking at some flowers. So you may want to do that. And what also happens is mental wellness and wealth, and when you start taking care of yourself, a lot of people don't like that, because it takes courage to take care of yourself. Like, it takes an initiative, which is why you notice so many people do not take care of themselves. They do not want to put in the work, because the thing is, for anything to work and your mental health is included, you have to have some form of consistency. So dedicate yourself to some form of consistency. Consistency doesn't have to be every day. No, you don't have to be in therapy every day, but there needs to be some form of consistency, whether it's a month, whether it's every other month, whether it's bi-weekly. There is some form of regularity and ritual energy that has to take place for everything to come to some form of completion. You have to be consistent. Microwave results is just not where it's at. And And also be mindful of the people that care about you. So if someone is suggesting that you should go to therapy or you should talk to someone, go ahead and look into it. Ask people that have had therapy. Ask around. Like, y'all shop around for every damn thing. Shop around for the therapist. Y'all talk about manifesting all the time. Goddamn, manifest a therapist. Like, you have vision boards. You got all these money rituals. Lord, love rituals. Shit, put a therapist up in there. Put a therapist up in there. Put a therapist on your vision board. You know? Put a therapist on your vision board. Mental wealth. Mental wealth. Because to complete and do, such a busybody. To complete and do certain things, you do need to have a certain mindset. And the mindset is not going to come overnight. It is going to take years, months, and you're always changing and evolving. And also when it comes to your mental wealth, you need to do check-ins with yourself. Like, how do I feel today? Mental wealth management. Social media will have you going bananas. Like, y'all need to take some time to really monitor your time on social media. Sometimes I get on social media, I feel like I just hear a bunch of people like screaming in the air. Like, and nobody's listening because everybody's screaming. So, you know, manage that. When you get on social media, be like, look, 5 minutes, even though it only takes a couple of seconds to make that imprint in your mind, go ahead and, all right, 5 minutes, I'm doing Facebook. Take a break. Breathe. Shit. And then when you feel like getting on Facebook again, get on. 5 minutes. Take a break. Log out. Because even when you do still have, when you're still like logged into apps, like the energy from that app is still buzzing. A lot of you claim to be very sensitive. So I think you should take this time to log off. Also, because we're going back to management, I see. We talked about the movement. We talked about the eating. I made a post about clearing your crown energy. Whether you do that with sage, water, herbs, clear your head space. Also, baths, water, cleanse, salts, clears the aura, releases the energy. Like I said, you have to do this stuff on a consistent basis. It has to be very ritualistic, as if you are brushing your teeth and washing your face every morning. And then just don't be so hard on yourself, because we all go through shit. We all going through shit. And sometimes, because the way society is set up is this thing of having it all together. No one has it all together. Everyone has things that they're working through and growing from. You have to remember that even though you may feel like you are separate from other people, we are all very much connected. Which is why we can always still feel the energy of what's going on, because we are connected. That's always a reminder to let you know that, hey, you're not separate from this. You're still connected to this. So do what you can. So we have baths, we have water, we have foods, we have movement, we have nature, we have therapy, creativity. A lot of y'all are sitting on a lot of creative energy, and that's another issue. Channel some of your emotions through creativity. Whether you like to paint, draw, sing, rap, organizing, redecorating, cooking, or even just doing some of that stuff for others, because it's not always something that you know, it has to be just isolated to yourself. Some of you like to create things for different people. Y'all may like to knit, y'all may do flower arrangements, y'all like to sew, create, like it's just so much. So just go ahead and let that, let your gifts out to play. Let your gifts out to play. Be patient with yourself. Create a mental wealth routine, okay? To keep you balanced, to keep you stable. It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna be okay, you know? And this is not to dismiss or cut off anybody's emotions, but this is just sometimes you need to bring more balance, especially when that shit is wreaking havoc in your life. Just bring more balance. And the thing is, when you do things on a consistent basis, it basically becomes second nature to you. And then with consistency, it brings results. Which is why when you start, for example, when you start eating healthy, working out, you notice you're like losing the pounds, and you're doing that for like 14 days straight, and then you stop, and then you're like, the weight's coming back. Because it's consistency, my friend. That applies to everything in life. Because there are a lot of things that's going on that you know about. And there's a lot of things going on that you don't know about. So there we go. There it is. Meditation. Meditation is very instrumental in clearing the mind when you get used to it. A lot of people say they cannot meditate. It takes a few tries, a few. I mean more than 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because your mind is used to consuming so much information at once. Sometimes it's hard to cut it off. You're going to have thoughts passing through. You're going to think about what you're making for dinner. The siren that's outside going past your house. Like, there's always so many things going on. Because that is life. But are you going to let life and distractions like take you off of your square? Like, no. So meditation, I mean, once you get into it, and first just start on focusing your breath, eventually you'll get into it. You'll get into your own swag of how you do it, and eventually you can just like melt right into it. And then it can help you reset yourself. So even just if you do feel yourself getting worked up, just try to sit and meditate for 5 minutes. If you are busy minded, I always tell people, play some music off of YouTube. If that's still a little bit challenging for you, just take a walk through nature. Just take a walk. Walking meditation, movement meditation, the Tai Chi, the yoga, and find what represents meditation for you. A boxing class may serve as meditation for you. Just go ahead.